We're ready? Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the Corpus Christi Type B Corporation to order and ask Ms. Box if she would call the roll.
President Leah Olivari.
Present.
Vice President Alan Wilson. Here. Secretary Diana Summers.
Here.
Mark LaRue. Jesus Jimenez. Absent. Robert Temez. Also absent. Eric Evans.
Present.
City Manager Peter Zanoni.
Present.
Assistant City Attorney Amy Alcorn-Reed.
Here.
A quorum of the board is present to conduct the meeting.
Thank you very much, Ms. Box. Is there anybody here that would like to make a public comment? I don't see any hands raised. Ms. Box, have you received any public comments?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. With that, I'd like us to turn to considering the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Anybody? Chance to review? If there aren't any, then I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Okay, thank you very much. All in favor, please say aye. 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 No absences have been recorded from the last meeting. Yeah, everybody was here. You're good?
We're good to go.
Okay, great. So we've come out of the executive session, and I'm going to move item 5, which is the public hearing and motion. The way it's stated on the agenda is it would be a public hearing and motion authorizing a business incentive grant agreement with Elevate QOF LLC for a total incentive amount not to exceed $2 million for Hilton Homewood Suites on the corner of North Chaparral and Lomax Street, and authorizing the appropriations of funds from the Corpus Christi Corporation Economic Development Fund and amending the budget. Does the staff have a presentation on this, briefly?
Yes, Madam Chair. I do have the developer here who would like to present to this item. Yeah. Oh, just the arrow, right?
And just for anybody that's listening in, there is considerable amount of material in our packet, which is available on Legistar, including this presentation.
Did we open public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I do the presentation before I open the public hearing. That's just a good comment.
Appreciate it. You're good. Yeah.
There we go. All right. It's been a while since I've used one of these. Well, first of all, Madam Chair, thank you, and board members, thank you all for having us here today. I'm Philip Ramirez, and with me I have my partner, Devin Bhakta. As you all well know, and if seen this project, we're super excited about this opportunity that we have here in our downtown environment to develop a mixed-use project. I know in the interest of time, I'll spare you all the gory details of kind of sort of Devin and I's backgrounds within this community, but rest assured we're obviously members of this community. We've been here a long time and have been advocates towards downtown development and just overall growth of our community for a long time. And what I can tell you is that while we've been advocates of that, I never really thought I'd be sitting here today as one of the people sitting here actually doing the downtown development. That wasn't really part of in the cards at the time. So again, it's been an interesting ride since we both kind of got together and put our proverbial money where our mouth is in acquiring this property downtown. As y'all well know, it was a fairly blighted block. Honestly, it was right at the heart of our downtown from kind of my urban planning side of things. You know, that block really sits at the core of our downtown. Obviously, we have lots of investment that's been made over the years. Lomax has obviously been fantastic about just, you know, making sure that our downtown stays as vibrant as it can. But this block has been vacant for quite a period of time, and there's been some various businesses, y'all, a decade ago at least, remember just some nightclubs and things of that nature. And there's been some fits and starts for that project, all of the various properties, but it was vacant. And so we saw an opportunity, again, right in the heart of our downtown to try to do something good for our downtown. And so the project went through some evolutions. We first were looking at some housing and some mixed use aspects were a possible tie into the university and providing some things there. The numbers just, you know, didn't end up working out, and we ended up looking at this project as a hotel. And so it is planned as a 127 room Hilton Homewood Suite, so it's a flagged hotel. We have a variety of rooms. Our clientele that we're really looking towards is a young professional, whether they be in the medical or industrial fields. I mean, that's really, it is an upper scale extended stay. And we have a couple of amenities that are tied within the hotel itself that are part of this request as well. So on the first floor, we decided, in order to be the best stewards of our downtown frontage, was to put the hotel entrance along Lomax, which is kind of your secondary street, and utilize, rather than putting more hotel rooms or kind of trying to do our best to maximize as many rooms as we could get, we chose to make sure that we provided an opportunity where other projects in the past have not, that were newer, to provide a true mixed-use aspect where there's going to be a first-level retail restaurant space, which is really at the human scale. And so the hotel will also have a rooftop bar, which is planned, that will be tied through the hotel, but we'll also have some Topgolf swing suites. And so, again, it's a vibrant project that we feel will really transform that area of our downtown and our core of downtown by, number one, providing more people in that area to frequent the businesses and other areas, restaurants and all the variety of development that's happening around there, but also just to bring more and more activity and more amenities for people that want to come here and have more choices to stay. Next slide, Andy. So again, went through a little bit of the project information from a timeline perspective, and again, I mentioned that we originally were planning this as a mixed-use development. And then looking at the kind of rental rates in the area as apartments and things of that nature, looking at kind of a brand new construction, the numbers just didn't pencil out. So that's when Devin, being an expert in the hotel business, was like, hey, you know, why don't we reconsider this, retool this? Let's still do something. This land is still sitting here vacant. We still want to do something. And that's how we came up with this concept. And so back in July of 22, Devin had approached Hilton, the rep, and we were able to secure this flag. They looked at the property, they looked at kind of a concept that we had come up with for the project, and they said, yeah, this looks great. And so we were able to secure that flag and start moving forward with some initial project funding from an equity perspective, and start budgeting the project and start building the pro forma. That was all on his end, more so than mine. One of the interesting things is we start having some discussions with the city, obviously, about what does it take to develop this property. It's something I'm fairly familiar with, going through it in my day-to-day business. And so we started laying out the project, and seemed to be going well. But the one thing that came up that we were not anticipating, and I know that's been somewhat discussed, is that, you know, the city did, the FEMA maps they were preliminary, but they became finalized and adopted as part of the process for the city. In order to get a building permit, we needed to comply with the new FEMA requirements that came into effect on October the 13th. And so it's kind of hit us midstream. I think some of y'all are aware of that and probably have gotten briefed by Randy on some of that. So it threw us for a little bit of a loop for some aspects of the project that we weren't planning on. We were just kind of planning on a normal commercial project that, you know, Devin has built, I've built, and it was pretty predictable. But it did certainly throw a wrinkle and an aspect to the project from a constructability perspective, but also just added costs that we weren't anticipating when we first started moving forward with the project. Next slide, Randy. So we had to do some things, obviously, to mitigate these new requirements. Without getting into the overall gory details, we had to elevate the first floor of the building. We had to provide some flood proofing. We had to provide some new infrastructure from AEP's perspective. We weren't able to tie into an existing transformer that existed across the street because that was under the floodplain. So there were some requirements and parameters that we certainly didn't anticipate. But as the project developed, we were working with the city and development services, and Yvette running around here somewhere, with regards to our flood requirements. And so working through those aspects, it just kind of sort of the project evolved a little differently than we had initially anticipated. And so certainly we wanted to be good stewards and comply with all these things. And so we did what we had to do, basically, to keep the project moving forward and continue to design it in a manner that met the requirements. Next slide, Randy. Again, one of the other aspects that we decided to build into this project is this lease space that you see along the Chaparral Street. So this is fronting Chaparral and provides approximately about 7,500 square feet of available lease space that we currently envision. This will have, 20-foot high concrete ceilings and structural concrete first floor, so it's built to last. It'll provide lots of volume for a kind of an urban space that you would see, walking off the street, being able to walk into full glass. It's a modern kind of environment that you would see in a lot of other downtowns that you may have been in, where you can imagine a nice restaurant and a live bar there, and just kind of a happening scene. And so we decided to move forward with this because we felt like it was really imperative to add to the streetscape at an urban scale. We're trying to, this is part of, we talked to Alyssa a lot about kind of sort of what does it take to continue to make our downtown vibrant, and this is one of those pieces. And we've had the Lomaxes, they're fully aware of our project, so, they've been very supportive, even knowing that, hey, at the end of the day, there might be another restaurant here, but they've been very supportive of all of this, and so we're thankful for their support, even through the Historic Commission vote, when we're moving to demolish the old buildings. But another unique thing is we're providing out here, as you can kind of see, I know the image is a little blurry, but off of the back of this lease space, we're also providing some outdoor dining. Part of it will be covered, but part of it will be open air, and we have some renderings I'll show you in a moment. But that also adds another interesting dynamic that's not kind of currently a lot in downtown, so where you're usually, we have a great environment and you have tourists, and so being able to eat where you're not off the street, or we're not getting kind of blown away by the wind or even shaded from the sun or the rain, but having that availability to have kind of an indoor-outdoor dining experience would be something that's unique and a little bit more different in our downtown environment. So that obviously kind of made the project a little nicer, and we really wanted to try to kind of keep in that theme of making the project as nice as we could, really. I mean, within the framework of what we can do within our available budget. Yes. And so, Randy, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. This is a rendition of kind of what we envision that environment to be. So you can see kind of on the right-hand side, you have a kind of a covered pergola, and there's a little lawn there that's in an urban environment. Hilton had certain standards of what we had to provide for an outdoor barbecue, and there's a little lawn that, you can have some yard games and some fire pits out there. So that's what you see to the right. But on the left-hand side, you can see this outdoor dining environment, and that's part of it's covered, as I mentioned, and then you have these nice storefront windows where you can kind of see through, and there's windows on the other side, so when you're walking down the street, you kind of see, and then you can see some dining back there, and you've got this nice little courtyard. So it creates a really, I think, synergistic environment where I feel like it could be a great addition to our downtown environment by adding some more business footprint, adding some more traffic, and just another place of variety that our guests, but also anybody visiting the downtown would be able to enjoy. Next slide, Randy. And then just a couple of other images. This is a rendition of what the hotel will look like from the street. This is a Chaparral Street elevation. We also have the rooftop bar, which you can see up on the very top. Have some great water views. We are stepped back a little bit. It's not a true waterfront property, but you should have some great views of the water from the fifth floor up rooftop bar. Go ahead, Randy. Next slide. This is a rendition of what this block will look like as the hotel comes to completion. It is really transforming that entire block. As you well know, A&M Corpus Christi has bought the building next door and is working on current renovations. The first phase is getting ready to start construction right after the first of the year, which will be an art gallery on the first floor. But it really does change the dynamics of that block, and really does provide an anchor for which we're hoping that additional development can thus spring forth. Again, we are coming to you to ask for the funds that we've requested. A part of that funding is due to the unanticipated aspects of kind of the infrastructure that we've had to build out in order to mitigate the floodplain issues. The other part is to help us build out the amenities on the first floor in order to try to keep our overall costs down to where we can make the rent manageable for another local purveyor in the sense. And so while that's not, there's infrastructure costs for all of that can be equated, but really our main goal in this is to keep our costs down to where we are building a new Class A space in downtown Corpus Christi, which hasn't been done in quite some time, that's available for lease for a purveyor to come in and provide a restaurant or retail or whatever it may be. And those costs, we're hoping we can offset and keep them down low enough where somebody can actually make it, rather than, the true cost of construction down there obviously is, with this new Class A spaces, could be pretty expensive. And so we're, hoping that globally, as you look at it, the overall project, while this is a fairly large ask for the incentive, but if you look at it globally, the size of the project being, north of $30 million, we have our TERS money that we've also been into consideration. But we really did, this hotel's not built out of wood. It's built out of steel. First floor is concrete plinth, and so cast in place concrete. You can imagine those kind of nice 20-foot tall ceilings, but then the conventional construction that we normally would build a hotel out of is wood, and y'all see that, going on a lot. But being in a downtown environment, trying to create something that's going to be lasting and commensurate with the other commercial construction in the area. Cosmopolitan to the right was built out of wood, and it's showing some age now, but it's a fairly new building, relatively speaking. But we felt like we really wanted to make sure that the project overall is going to last and be a substantial addition to the overall downtown environment. So metal stud framing, all impact resistant windows. So we know that it's in a harsh environment and we have to survive on the coast and make sure that this building is something that's not going to be substandard or make sure that it meets all of the local codes and requirements. But at the end of the day, really, I don't want to bore you all with any more facts, and we're certainly available to answer any questions. But at the heart of this is us two guys sitting here. At the end of the day, this is a big risk for both of us to come through. Devin certainly knows what he's doing on the hotel side, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it really is a catalyst type project in our downtown environment. Again, I do really think that this is the true core of our downtown, and I do believe that it will radiate out a lot of advantages to the surrounding properties, but also to our downtown, is just getting more people down there, whether they be staying in the hotel or whether they be coming to the other amenities that we can offer. I think it's going to be a draw, and I think all of this just helps us become potentially more successful in our ability to make sure that the hotel works and that it's not something that we are like, man, what did we do? And at the end of the day, it's not been without its hiccups. It's not, again, we've had some surprises. We thought we had some underground gas tanks. We had to replat the property, which we knew we were going to have to do. But, it's development like anything else, and there's always surprises. But we've stayed committed and have continued to have it run its course, and really are looking forward to bringing it to fruition. And I certainly appreciate you guys' consideration in this. I know these decisions aren't easy, and you'll have a task in front of you all, but we would certainly hope that while it doesn't necessarily fit all of the normal parameters of some of the projects you would see, I think it is a true catalyst project that deserves a little bit of out-of-the-box thinking. I'm hopeful that we can see that there's a value in it overall in the downtown environment that'll be a great addition to the city. And so with that, I think I will stand by to answer any questions. I'll let you answer that one.
One of our concerns is the parking situation, and so our understanding is that there is an off-site space that's been secured, but how much parking has been basically secured between the two locations?
Between two locations, so we have the paperwork's almost finalized for the parking lot. That's catty corner on the back end, which is next to the downtown car wash on the corner.
Okay.
And so with that and the parking spots that we have on site, I think that puts us, at 150 and change. So we're well over what even the hotel requirement would be at that point.
On site, we have about 80 parking spaces on the physical
On the actual
property,
site
on the
itself.
actual site. So the thought is that for self-parkers, you can park there, self-parking, and then our valet
Would valet at the next block.
would use the catty corner parking lot for that. It's 150, I think, in total,
150 and
something
change,
like
yeah.
that, yeah. Yeah, but about 80
We're
on site.
reconfiguring that other lot, so I actually need to get my architect to play around with it a little bit.
But about 80 on site, Leah.
Yeah, I got that number, I just didn't know. the-
Yeah, I think one of the concerns is the accessibility to the retail. I mean, if
Sure.
everybody that's
Sure.
staying at the hotel is occupied there,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna walk around alone at night in
Right, yeah,
downtown.
yeah.
And so that's a concern
Sure.
in order to make sure that retail has people coming in, but also that there is enough parking available to the hotel guests. Same concern for them as well.
Right.
As well as the employees that work there. Because if it's 120 plus 70 employees,
The other thing that we're gonna have at this hotel, just like the other downtown hotels, we'll have an airport shuttle, because we know a lot of business clients
Right.
just fly in, so we'll shuttle them in, so they won't have vehicles anyway. So that'll cut down on that.
And
that
Uber
demand
too,
of
you know,
parking.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you know, the more, hopefully the more that our downtown develops, the less need there will be to drive it. You know, you can Uber and you can walk to a lot of places without having to get in a car and go somewhere. So we're trying to, you know, build that. But it is a very valid, you know, question. And I think that with 150 plus spaces, also own the Braswell building behind as well. And so that's an unimproved parking lot right now, but we're working on making some improvements back there. We don't really know what we're going to do with that building just yet, but there's also some available parking potentially there as well, so.
And what sort of, you know, retail space, is there going to be rooms for kitchens in these? I mean, you talked about restaurants. I mean, are you looking at shopping? Like, how do you envision these spaces?
So the first floor is built with, basically, we're building out all of the infrastructure there, grease trap. So we're leaving out certain areas of the foundation to be able to provide for utility. So there will be the main utility runs of sanitary sewer, water, a grease trap, so that way you can build in the kitchen. So all the infrastructure is being built in and put there already as part of this project. So it's underground and it's in place. We did envision it as a, you know, we've even thought out duct runs for grease hoods, that type of stuff, to elevate them high up enough to where it's not, you know, blowing out right on you. You're sitting there, you know, having your cocktail and, you know, somebody's frying, you know, something and the vent hood's dumping out right. So we've even looked at that. So the project has been developed and the infrastructure will be there as part of the build out to be able to support those. And we really are envisioning the kind of broken up into kind of really two lease spaces. It could be broken up into three, but our thought is that we would get probably a 4,000 to 4,500 square foot bar restaurant in there, and then we have the hard corner, which is a much smaller space, which is about 1,000 square feet. So it's small. So you know, if it's a small coffee shop or a delicatessen or something, you know, something like that. And then there's a kind of interstitial space. But if the coffee shop or whatever is on the hard corner decides to expand and needs another 1,000 feet, or the restaurant wants to be 5,500 square feet, we have some flexibility the way that the columns are laid out. So, but our thought is that it's some combination of that. Now, as far as like street level retail, it certainly could be that. But I think we're hoping that it's more of a, you know, restaurant is our main kind of anchor there. And then how the rest gets carved up, we're not really sure at this point. So, but our hope is that, you know, we're hoping that they can be local. Our thought is that it's a local, you know, type thing. I don't think, you know, chain, you know, type aspect is probably going to work there. I think our desire would be that it would be somebody local.
Okay.
We've had a couple of local restaurateurs, I don't want to name any names, but popular local restaurants that have approached us already about possibly.
That don't have a downtown location or, you
Right.
know, yeah, so.
Okay. And there are some similar style restaurants surrounding that similar to what you just spoke of, and that you mentioned they're receptive to this coming in.
Yes,
and
yes. They've been,
We just actually talked about meeting with, well, we're talking about Richard Lomax and a couple other people around there, and just kind of sitting around and saying, hey, what do you think needs to be in this area? Because I think for this project to be successful is to tie it.
Right.
The reality is, I think adding all these things, and I think he brought up the kind of professionals traveling to this area, is you want to be able to walk out of the hotel like you do in other places and not have a barren block, right? You want to be able to go this way, and have different variety of things to go to. So I think that's.
so Richard actually showed up at our public comment for our Historic Commission you know, presentation, because, you know, there was some concern about the historic nature of the buildings, and obviously it ended up being that they really weren't ultimately, but he showed up and spoke in favor of being fully aware of what we're doing. So yes, I mean, they're aware, and I think just the concept of, you know, one of the things that he said is, you know, he's been looking at these vacant, dilapidated buildings across from his, you know, people come and they're like, oh, what's going on over here? And so I think just the concept of getting something new and fresh there is absolutely was something that they are in favor of. And so feel pretty confident that they're, feel good about it.
sorry, one last question. In the rendering, there's a glass pavilion on the top next to the rooftop bar. Is that part of the bar, or?
So next to the bar, so the way that it is, can we go to the next slide, Randy? I think we might have one last slide. No, that's it? Okay. I guess I didn't put that in there. So if you can look where these kind of yellow slats are, part of that is the rooftop deck that's out there. And so that whole on the chaparral side, the whole 5th floor is actually all part of the same bar. And so what we have is we have a part right at the kind of corner where you can kind of see some greenery. Part of it's just slats so the sun can come in, so it's providing shade, but it's not fully covered. Then the kind of second half of that is covered seating. So we have a large rooftop deck area, but behind that and to the right is we have an indoor bar, a small indoor bar, which is really kind of your hotel bar. And then to the right, we have the kitchen, but we also have two of these enclosed Topgolf swing suites, which is a Topgolf simulator. So you can go and rent that room out for an event or, whatever it may be to go and play Topgolf. And, but you can also watch, a big, football game there. You can watch a movie there. You can play video game. You can do whatever you like. There's a variety of offerings, but the main attraction would be a Topgolf swing suite there. And, that's a room that you would have a full wait staff. You have a lounge seating in there. You could do karaoke in there if you wanted.
I will not.
So we'll have two of those, plus we'll also
wanna
have
know when.
plus we'll also have a private dining room in there for, a corporate event if somebody wants to go in, and have a meeting and be able to do a presentation. It's not a huge room, but it would be enough to seat, 15, 20 people in there and be able to give some sort of presentation. So you could also, do that as well. So that whole kind of stretch on the 5th floor is planned out to be a rooftop bar. That will be open to the public and have the ability, you come in, hotel lobby, go up to, it's just like the Republic of Texas would be, anybody can go in there. And then there is a lock off, right? So you go in the lobby, and then to get to the rooms on the Lomax side for the 5th floor, there's a secure door where you gotta be able to card in, yes. So,
Perfect. But that whole space is part of the amenity, yeah.
yes, it is.
Anything?
No, Carrie.
I had just one question. You said that well, I assume anybody can use valet parking to go to your park. So if you wanted to go to the restaurant, you could.
Yes, you can valet, yes, absolutely.
But it looked like to me you were showing that on the Lomax side, but then when you showed the picture of the Chaparral frontage,
Yes.
I know I'm being picky, but it looked like there was parking,
Well, there is
a
street.
drive.
Well, there is street
Oh,
level.
it looked like you had another, like.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
we can
maybe
go
that
back.
was an early.
Yeah, it may have
Okay.
been, so
So I
there's-
just wanted, that one, go back. The one you were just, no.
So
That
so
one,
that's Chaparral side, so there's just street
yeah, it looked like the.
parking there.
That's
but-
all. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So the
Kind of a perspective
Lomax
trace.
is, which is better.
office,
'cause
right.
It's
So less
going to
of-
create some congestion, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. I recognize that, Cornell. Okay. If there's no other questions, then I'd like to move and open the public hearing on this item and ask if there's any public comment. The only comment I received is via text from Alyssa, the head of the DMD, and she just said that she thought she's sorry she couldn't be here. She thought it would be a catalytic project for the downtown. So I assume the DMD is supporting this based on that, and if she's going to work tomorrow. Okay. So with that, if there's no comments, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve and ask for a second. Yes.
I'd like to move that we approve the grant request for $2 million. And have our,
I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson, can you turn your microphone on?
Yes.
oh, I thought it did.
And say,
I moved that we approve the $2 million incentive. And I think there were some amendments that were discussed in the executive session.
So I believe what Mr. Wilson is trying to do is a motion to direct staff to draft an agreement in the amount of $2 million with Elevate QOF as an LLC for this project, which we'll bring back next month for final approval.
Second.
all right, is there any discussion?
What's that?
And just so y'all know, we did identify a list of specific things, and it's not anything you should have any problems about, structural and the requirements, and then, how the term of 5 years with the payout every year with the 70 jobs. I mean, it's things like that, but we'd like it to come back here and let everybody see and make sure they got everything included. So that would be the first meeting in January.
Excuse me, Chairwoman, does today's motion include the amount of contribution?
He said
2 million? Okay, good,
Yes.
just so they can know what to do, right, because every month is important.
No, he said, I mean.
Okay, great. I didn't
I
catch
heard a
it.
second, right, to that, JJ? So I assume that that's the motion unless somebody wants to amend them amend it in some way.
Madam President, the other note I'm going to make is that this does not impact when you could start receiving funding. So
Correct.
because of the public hearing today, the deadline for the ability to receive funding is already set, so that won't change.
That's as of today.
But they're going to have to also accept the terms of the agreement that we asked to be included.
Yes.
Correct. So, we all have to make sure we agree to those pieces.
That's correct.
So, okay,
It will come back to you and.
to us, right?
Yes, to you. Because I don't want to sign it all by myself. I want, let me say one thing. I think my sense is that we are doing this not because of the additional flood or FEMA or any of that. I think it's fair to say that this board felt like that this would be a catalyst for downtown, and it was a new type of development. We'd like to see that spur it on, but we're not open to a continuous a project involvement. It's a case-by-case basis. Is that a fair statement, everybody? Yes. And so I just want it on the record that it's because it is a blighted area, because it is a catalyst, that was the reason to move forward with the investment. And even though it was somewhat more than the general economic analysis that we do and respect would have called for, we felt like there would be that level of value to the overall area. Okay.
Quick
So-
question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Are we still tying the funding to jobs, or is it,
Yes,
we're just,
70 jobs.
is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Just wanted to clarify.
It'll be over a 5-year period, so every year they have to demonstrate that they have 70 jobs in place.
Okay, perfect.
And you will get, so if it's $2 million, you'll get 400,000 a year relative to Randy over here checking it. Okay. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you for your,
We need a call for.
oh, I'm sorry, you're right, yeah. Okay, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor of the motion for $2 million with the business incentive agreement to be returned to us for final approval next month?
Aye.
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 Okay. Anyone opposed? Seems a lot. Okay, there you go. We have a couple of quick things to get through. I'd like to suggest that we hold the business liaison position discussion until, is that okay with you? Yeah, we're running awful, and we still have A to get to real quick. So there's a calendar motion to approve the B Corporation calendar. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to approve the calendar as presented by the staff?
Aye.
Mr. Zanoni, do you have a report? I'm sorry, anyone opposed? All right. Mr. Zanoni, do you have a report?
No, nothing to report today.
Thank you.
I don't think so, right, Constance, anything? Nothing to report, right? No, we're good. Thank you.
We'll get the funding report, yeah. All right, with that, I'd like to close the meeting, and we need to switch to A.
Yep, give us just a minute.
Well, it's just calendar. It'll take 5 minutes. Let's knock it out.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the Corpus Christi Business and Job Development Corporation, Type A, to order. I'm sorry, our previous meeting ran over, if you've been watching. Ms. Box, would you please call the roll?
Yes. President Leah Pagano-Olivari,
Present?
Vice President Alan Wilson. Here. Secretary Diana Summers. Here. Mark LaRue.
Here.
Jesus Jimenez.
Here.
Robert Temez, absent. Eric Evans.
Present.
City Manager Peter Zanoni.
Present.
Assistant City Attorney Amy Alcorn-Reed.
Here.
A quorum of the board is present to conduct a meeting.
Right. Is there anybody here that would like to make any public comment? I don't see anyone except staff. Ms. Box, have you received any public comments?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. We have the minutes from the previous meeting of October 16th before us. Is there anyone, do I have a motion to approve those minutes with a second?
So moved.
Mr. LaRue, second.
Second.
Mr. Wilson, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
On another item related to those minutes, Mr. Jimenez was absent from the October 16th meeting. I believe you were ill?
Yes, October 16th, yes.
Yes. So we didn't take this one up until now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so is there anyone that, I'll make a motion that that absence be charted as excused because of illness. Is there a second?
Second.
Summers seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We are going to forego the financial report this time, and I need a motion to approve the 2024 Corpus Christi Business and Job Development Corporation meeting calendar. Mr. Wilson? Second. Ms. Summers? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say no. The motion carries. Mr. Zanoni, do you have a report?
No report today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned, and happy holidays.
I'm not even sure.